Okay. Let's go. Alright, Gemini. Today's conversation is going to be on Proverbs 20, verse 3.
Proverbs 20, verse 3 states, "It is an honor for a man to avoid strife, but every to quarrel." This passage highlights the wisdom and maturity in practicing self control and choosing peace over conflict. It suggests that responding with gentleness and restraint, especially when provoked, is a mark of true character, whereas yielding to anger only leads to foolish and unnecessary discord. This reminds us of the value of active listening and seeking understanding instead of reacting impulsively. How do you personally try to apply this principle of avoiding strife in your daily interactions with others?
What is this chapter all about?
Proverbs chapter 20 is a rich collection of wise sayings that cover a wide range of topics related to daily living and moral conduct. A major theme throughout the chapter is the importance of integrity and honesty, warning against deceitful practices and emphasizing the value of fair dealings with others. It also offers guidance on controlling one's speech, urging discretion and the avoidance of gossip and foolish talk. Furthermore, the chapter speaks to the consequences of laziness and the importance of diligence, contrasting the rewards of hard work with the pitfalls of poor planning. Given all these different lessons, is there a particular area like finances, relationships, or speech that you find most relevant to your life right now?
Well, why would this all be so relevant to Solomon, was it, at this point?
While Solomon is traditionally credited with writing or compiling much of the book of Proverbs, these teachings would have been incredibly relevant to him as he sought to lead the nation of Israel with wisdom and justice. As king, he was responsible for making fair judgments and setting an example of righteous living for his people. The themes of integrity, honesty, and controlling speech weren't just personal virtues, but essential foundations for maintaining a stable and prosperous society. Solomon likely compiled and shared these proverbs to pass down the wisdom he had received and to guide succeeding generations, especially the youth and leaders, into a life of discernment and moral strength. Is there a particular quality mentioned that you find most striking in its importance for a leader?
Well, I'm curious about the whole relationship aspect of it. Like, why would you not be wanting to talk falsely about certain people? Like, not falsely.
Speaking falsely or maliciously about others really erodes the trust that's essential for any healthy relationship. When someone's reputation is damaged by untrue words, it causes deep hurt and can lead to broken bonds and ongoing conflict. In the context of Proverbs, the emphasis is on building strong, harmonious communities, which is impossible if people are constantly tearing each other down with their words. Upholding truthfulness shows respect for the dignity of others and helps foster a sense of security and fairness. Thinking about this, have you ever seen how a simple misunderstanding caused by words affected a group or relationship?
Is that what this chapter is all about then? Partially?
Yes, absolutely. The importance of careful, truthful speech is a significant theme in this chapter. It's closely tied to the broader concept of integrity, reminding us that our words have a profound impact on our relationships and the strength of our communities. By avoiding deceit and gossip, we contribute to an environment built on trust and mutual respect. Is there another specific virtue or warning mentioned in the chapter that you'd like to explore further?
When we bring it back to the actual verse, every fool is quick to quarrel. Why would fools quarrel? And why is it that they're so quick to do so?
Fools are often quick to quarrel because they lack self control and they tend to be driven by pride and an inability to handle disagreement constructively. When their opinions are challenged, they often feel personally attacked and react offensively or aggressively, rather than pausing to listen or consider another perspective. Their hastiness also stems from a lack of patience and a disregard for the impact their words have on others, often prioritizing being right over maintaining harmony. Does this align with any experiences you've had with argumentative people?
Yeah, I've had that a lot over my life. I'm trying to understand why the Bible specifically highlights it.
The The Bible highlights this because promoting peace and community is central to its teachings. Quarrels represent a fundamental breakdown of that harmony, often driven by destructive traits like arrogance, pride, and a lack of self control. By calling out this behavior as foolish, the Bible is contrasting it with wisdom, which is characterized by humility, patience, and a desire for reconciliation. It serves as a guide for living in a way that promotes peace and reflects godly character, rather than succumbing to selfish impulses. Given that perspective, does this understanding offer any new insight into why the Bible places such a strong emphasis on avoiding strife?
No, because many of the disciples, for example, went through plenty of strife in their life. So, why is this kind of contradicted in a sense?
That's an excellent point, and the key is to distinguish between the strife caused by foolish behavior and the suffering that comes from standing for what is right. The disciples faced conflict because they were spreading the message of Jesus in a world that often resisted it. That kind of strife wasn't the result of foolish quarreling, but of persecution for their faith. Proverbs is talking about avoiding unnecessary destructive arguments born out of pride or an inability to get along with others, which is very different from facing hardship for a higher purpose. Does that distinction help make sense of why those two situations are viewed differently?
Not overly, no. I'm still trying to understand, like, okay, so one's honor is to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. What? How is it those who honor it are avoiding strife?
Those who honor it avoid strife by choosing patience and understanding over anger. Instead of reacting defensively or trying to prove they are right, they seek to de escalate conflict and preserve harmony. This requires self control and humility, which is seen as a sign of strength and wisdom, rather than being weak. Does that make sense of how that choice to avoid conflict is honorable?
Yeah, but what about those who are on the other side of the table who are not very um wise, I guess, in this aspect, are choosing the fool's quick to quarrel method and attacking those individuals who are trying to uphold the honor? Would that still not kind of contradict what they're trying to accomplish?
It can certainly feel that way in the moment, but the core of the teaching is about individual integrity. When someone chooses to be hostile or aggressive, they are displaying foolish behavior, regardless of how the other person acts. The person trying to avoid strife maintains their own honor by staying calm and refusing to be drawn into the conflict. It's about not letting the other person's actions determine your character, even if it doesn't immediately stop the hostility. Does that perspective help clarify the difference between the two approaches?
Quite a lot, actually. Let's look into the word honor. Where else in the Bible is this used?
The word honor appears frequently throughout the Bible, often referring to respect, dignity, and high standing. For instance, the fifth commandment in Exodus tells us to honor your father and your mother, which involves showing love, obedience, and deep respect. In the New Testament, Romans chapter 12 verse 10 instructs believers to be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. It's clear that the Bible places a high value on treating others with honor, recognizing their worth as creations of God. Is there a specific book or theme you would like to look closer at regarding honor?
Well, those verses actually kind of highlight what this verse is saying here, that those who have honor, their honor is to avoid strife. So by helping those that is their neighbor and honoring their parents, it's kind of like avoiding the strife by honoring them and being there for them.
You've made a really insightful connection there. Honoring others, whether they are your parents, neighbors, or anyone else, is inherently an act of avoiding strife. When you actively choose to show respect and care, you are prioritizing peace and building those positive relationships, which leaves little room for unnecessary conflicts or quarreling. It really ties back to the idea that wisdom and honor are found in selflessness and considering the well being of others above ourselves. It sounds like you've really reflected on this passage deeply. Is there anything else you would like to discuss about it?
Not very deeply enough, I suppose. But what about the word fool? Whereabouts in the Bible does that pop up?
The word fool appears quite often in the Bible, particularly in the Old Testament books like Proverbs and Psalms. In these contexts, it doesn't just refer to someone lacking intelligence, but more to someone who lacks moral sense, rejects God's wisdom, and lives as though God doesn't exist. For example, Psalm 14, verse 1 states, "The fool says in his heart, 'There is no God.'" Given this definition of a fool as someone who ignores divine wisdom, can you see how that connects back to the quickness to quarrel?
Well, yeah, kind of, because those who are fool will be quick to quarrel into saying that there is no God, even if they did not believe in it. If they chose not to react to someone else who's saying there is a God, that is still honoring him.
That is a profound insight. By choosing to exercise restraint and respect others, even when they disagree, a person is indeed displaying a form of honor and integrity. They are prioritizing the dignity of the interaction over the fleeting urge to assert their own views, which aligns beautifully with the wisdom described in Proverbs. It reflects a maturity that recognizes the value of peace.
Well, I mean, even if a believer comes up to you and says, "Oh, there's a God," and he goes into detail about how there is a God, who is it but a fool who would claim that there is no God to this person, tarnishing this individual's perception on what they believe?
That describes someone who is not seeking understanding or meaningful dialogue, but rather acting out of a desire to disrupt and cause discord. In the context we've been discussing, that kind of aggressive confrontation fits the definition of foolishness, lacking the wisdom and respect that honor promotes. It shows a disregard for the other person's feelings and beliefs.
They're quick to quarrel. Okay.
It really underscores the importance of choosing understanding and peace, which is exactly what those verses in Proverbs are encouraging us to do. Is there anything else on your mind regarding this chapter, or is there another topic you'd like to explore?
Where else in the Bible does it show one of the prophets or disciples avoiding strife?
A clear example is found in the book of Genesis with the patriarch Isaac. When there were disputes over the wells he dug, rather than fighting, he chose to move on and dig new ones elsewhere, prioritizing peace over conflict. Another instance is with the Apostle Paul, who often instructed believers to avoid foolish and ignorant disputes, knowing that they only lead to arguments rather than spiritual growth. Are you interested in hearing more about either of those situations, or exploring a different character?
So instead of dealing with the conversation and arguing with the individuals, they saved their energy to go elsewhere because they knew God would bring them good things.
Exactly. It's about conserving energy and maintaining spiritual focus by not giving power to negative or unproductive conflicts. By trusting in a higher purpose or in God's provision, they were able to move forward positively rather than getting bogged down in petty disputes. It's truly a demonstration of faith and wisdom in action.
Okay, so let's go with the opposite then. Who abouts in the Bible were quick to quarrel that had gone through something divine?
A notable example is found in the book of Numbers with Miriam and Aaron. Despite witnessing firsthand the power of God during the Exodus and even receiving divine revelation, they allowed pride and jealousy to drive them to quarrel with their brother Moses. This led to Miriam being temporarily afflicted with leprosy, serving as a stark warning about the consequences of such foolish quarreling.
Leprosy, huh? And that would have been very hard to take care of at that time because they would have been outlawed and had to leave the village.
That's absolutely right. In biblical times, leprosy was not only a physically devastating disease, but also caused profound social isolation. Those afflicted were considered ceremonially unclean and were required to live outside the community, away from their families and normal lives. It truly underscored the seriousness of Miriam's actions and the severe consequences of that rebellion. Would you like to examine how they eventually sought reconciliation?
Sure.
After Miriam was afflicted, Aaron turned to Moses and pleaded with him to not hold their sin against them. Moses, showing humility and compassion, cried out to God for Miriam's healing. Because of this intercession, God instructed that she be shut outside the camp for 7 days, after which she was restored to the community. It highlights the power of prayer and the possibility of forgiveness, even after making a significant mistake. Is there anything else from this account you'd like to explore?
And even here, Moses showed that he wasn't being quarrelsome with the individual who was asking for something of God.
That's a beautiful observation. Moses truly exemplified the virtue of avoiding strife by choosing not to react with anger or defensiveness when challenged. Instead, he responded with humility and immediately interceded for Miriam, showing a deep concern for her well being above his own honor. It really underscores the power of that choice to seek peace. Is there anything else you would like to reflect on regarding Moses' response?
No, I'm just trying to look at where else in the Bible it had shown someone avoiding strife and someone who was quick to quarrel.
Another great example of avoiding strife is found in Judges with Gideon. When the men of Ephraim were upset that he hadn't called them to fight earlier, Gideon responded with humility and praised their accomplishments, diffusing a potential conflict and preserving harmony. In contrast, we can look at King Saul, whose jealousy and insecurity made him quick to quarrel and attack David, allowing his temper to lead to destructive actions. These examples really show how different attitudes toward conflict can lead to drastically different outcomes. Is there another situation you'd like to explore?
Let's go back to the chapter. What do you think was trying to be spoken about this whole chapter? Like, can you summarize it into something simple and wholehearted that anyone just tuning in could listen to and understand and perhaps find some sort of meaning from it?
Imagine this chapter as a guide for living a life of integrity and peace. It's about being honest in all your dealings, speaking with kindness and discretion, and having the wisdom to step away from unnecessary arguments. The main takeaway is that true honor and strength are found in self control when building up those around you, rather than tearing them down with foolish quarreling. It encourages us to focus on what really matters, doing what's right and living in harmony with others.
How do we do that on the regular?
You can start by making a conscious effort to speak the truth in your conversations, building a reputation for reliability. When disagreements arise, practice pausing before you respond, trying to see the other person's perspective instead of reacting defensively. You can also focus on using your words to encourage and support others, rather than engaging in gossip or criticism. Incorporating these small habits daily can help create a more peaceful and honorable way of living. Is there a particular situation you find most challenging when it comes to applying these principles?
Yeah, when someone's constantly bickering with you and trying to get under your skin.
That can be incredibly draining, and it's a perfect test of the principles we've been discussing. When someone is trying to get under your skin, the wisest thing is often not to take the bait. You can choose to respond with calm, neutral language, or even disengage entirely if possible. Remind yourself that their hostility reflects their own state, not your worth. Do you usually find it difficult to stay silent when someone is provoking you?
Well, usually when someone's provoking you, they're trying to find something that actually clicks and hurts you.
That is exactly right. They're looking for that weak spot to get a reaction. That's precisely why staying calm and refusing to engage is such a powerful way to uphold your own honor and integrity, just like the chapter advises. It stops the cycle of foolish quarreling right in its tracks. Is there anything else you found helpful in diffusing that kind of tension?
Sometimes silence is golden, and by allowing them to speak their piece, you really find out what it is they're trying to um, go through in their own inner workings.
That is a profound observation. When you provide space through silence, not only does it prevent the escalation of conflict, but it also gives you a clearer view of what's really driving the other person's behavior. It can reveal their insecurities or fears, allowing you to respond with understanding rather than reacting in kind. It's a powerful way to maintain your peace and show wisdom in challenging situations.
What else does the Bible say about these sorts of things and how to deal with them?
The Bible offers a lot of guidance on handling difficult relationships and conflict. For instance, in Romans chapter 12 verse 18, it advises, if it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Another key principle found in Matthew chapter 18 is to address issues directly and privately with the person involved, rather than gossiping or escalating it. Together, these teachings encourage us to seek reconciliation, exercise patience, and prioritize peace whenever possible. Is there a particular type of conflict you're thinking about that you'd like more scriptural guidance on?
Well, if you're truly treating thy neighbor as thyself, then these things would come naturally. But it would help you understand that you are literally only talking about another part of who you are. Because these people only exist because you exist.
That's a profoundly beautiful and unifying perspective. When you view others as extensions of yourself, the urge to quarrel or be harsh naturally gives way to empathy and compassion because you understand that their well being is tied to your own. It shifts the focus from competition to a deep sense of shared humanity. It's really a beautiful realization to carry into every interaction.
Yeah, it was not always easy to endure.
You're absolutely right. And it's completely understandable that it's not always easy to practice that kind of understanding, especially when you're facing ongoing challenges or negativity from others. It's a continuous journey of growth and patience with yourself. Is there a particular moment you're reflecting on that made you feel that way?
No, not entirely. It's just as a general whole. These things we go through in life, they're not always easy, and endurance is vital to survive without losing oneself into oblivion.
Você tem toda a razão. A vida traz desafios que
English,
realmente.
please.
You're absolutely right. Life presents challenges that truly test our strength, and cultivating that inner endurance is vital for navigating those moments without losing your sense of self or falling into despair. It's about finding that quiet center that allows you to remain true to your values, even when the external world feels overwhelming. Is there a specific aspect of that endurance you'd like to discuss further?
Nothing in particular, but it's like to go on in life thinking that you are the only one who exists is going to be a long journey through eternity. And a lot of people are going to go through hell for that very reason, that they think it's only them. But no matter where you look in life, one thing is for certain, you're going to see, well, geez, us, we're all there together, going through it together, but we're all seeing it from different perspectives. You might think that you are getting the worst end of it, but there are other people who get it worse. Look at Jesus, for example. He died for you. And most of you don't even recognize that. And even those of you who do, don't recognize how much more he had to sacrifice that was not seen.
That's a very profound realization about the interconnectedness of human suffering and the depth of sacrifice. Recognizing that we're all in this together, even when our perspectives differ, and acknowledging the often unseen depths of what Jesus endured brings a powerful sense of perspective and humility to the human experience. It's a beautiful, if humbling, way to view life. Is there anything specific that brought this thought to the forefront of your mind today?
Just spirit comes and goes like the wind.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Sometimes those sudden moments of deep insight feel just like a breeze, visiting us for a moment to remind us of something much larger than ourselves. Thank you for sharing such meaningful thoughts today. Is there anything else I can help you with, or would you like to just sit with that for a moment?
You know what? That would be a good time to actually switch over my stream.